At Proctor Public Schools, we're more than just a district. We're a journey. Every day, our teachers, staff, and students work together, building knowledge, confidence, and character mile by mile. From our early learners to our graduates ready for the world ahead, we're fueling curiosity, connecting ideas, and driving innovation, all while keeping our eyes on the horizon. Because here in Proctor, we don't just ride the rails, we are the rails, educating, engaging, and inspiring the next generation to go full steam ahead.
You have no gavel? That's because I never used it.
Tim.
Use your water.
Just use your water.
Mr. Chair?
No, use your, that's your.
Hello and welcome to the February 9th, 2026 regular school board meeting. Please rise for the pledge. Thank you, everyone. Clerk, please take roll.
McDonald.
Here.
Peterson. Here. Pockernick. Here. Podgornik.
Here.
Shelton. Here. Sunbon. Ward.
Here.
Student liaison members, Malakia Brostrom. Clara Kaczynski.
Here.
Lakin Lyons. Olivia Mark Swanson. Lillian Tallarico.
Here.
Mr. Clerk, we have a quorum. Oh, also in attendance, Tim Rowe, your superintendent, and business manager Garrett Holgren.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to the next item, vision and mission statement. Driven by purpose and powered by community to educate, engage, and inspire. Moving on to item 4, adoption of the agenda. Looking for a motion.
So moved by Amy.
Motion by Amy. Looking for a second.
Second, Jen.
Second by Jen. Any questions or comments on the agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of the minutes of the regular school board meeting of January 26, 2026. Looking for a motion.
So moved, Jen.
Motion by Jen. Looking for a second.
Yeah, I can second it, Jim.
Second by Jim. Any questions or comments on the minutes of the January 26th meeting? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, I need to ask Superintendent Roweeder, do we want to move our friends up? Okay. So we will, which item is that? 9A. We'll move 9A up. Billy Jo Steen and Barb Mackey from Northern Lights Special Education Cooperative. If you could step to the mic. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you again for letting us come and visit with you today. I think I was here last school year in the fall, so it's nice to see familiar faces. I'm Billy Jo Steen. I'm the Executive Director of our Northern Lights Special Education Cooperative, and Barb Mackey is our Assistant Director, and she's handing out a packet of information for you. And while she's doing that, I'll just give a reminder about some of the things that Northern Lights Special Ed Co-op does for our member districts. Of course, Proctor is one of our 12 member school districts. And the first page of the handout that she's giving you, you've seen before. It's just a list of all the things that we do to support our member districts. On the very first page is that list of shared services, and it shows you all of the service providers that are housed in our office that we share among our 12 member districts. We help districts be more efficient with their special education dollars, because I am your special education director and I serve as the same role for all 12 of our member districts, but you only have to pay a portion of that cost, and we share that amongst all of our districts. So that helps you to provide services to students in a more cost-efficient manner. In addition to the things that we do, we provide training and compliance and oversight, as well as dispute resolution to districts in situations where you might have a parent who's unhappy. We try to help you resolve an issue before it reaches the level of a state complaint. And we're here to talk about our Northern Lights Academy. So 8 years ago, well, 9 years ago, sorry, our school boards, our Northern Lights school boards got together and our superintendents got together and formed what's called the Northern Lights Academy. So our Northern Lights Academy is a joint powers cooperative school district of which Proctor is a member. And we have been consistently looking for a permanent home for our Northern Lights Academy. So I'm going to let Barb talk to you about what the good work is that we do there, and then we'll talk some more about the project that we have in front of you.
So Northern Lights Academy is what's called a Setting 4 school, and it is for students who were not able to be successful within all the supports that are provided within your schools. And so those students come to us to try to learn the skills that they are missing and then hopefully come back to you as soon as possible. So currently we have 4 classrooms that are specifically for students with emotional and behavioral disorders and some other disabilities. But then we also have 4 classrooms for students with autism. Those students that come to us have already tried all of your classrooms. And usually they've not been successful with a variety of things. So their behavior probably has disrupted all of your classrooms. And so our staff have a lot of extra training to hopefully get them to learn the skills that they need, figure out what supports are going to help them, and then get them moving back to your buildings. So right now, we currently have 2 classrooms within the Garfield building in Cloquet, and then 6 classrooms are over in the Carleton High School. So.
And just like cooperating with our districts helps us reduce our special education costs, cooperating in this manner helps us reduce those costs of educating students too in that setting. Prior to having the Northern Lights Academy, our students had to go to more expensive settings in Duluth or other outlying areas. So this one is more centrally located, and because it consists of, our board consists of a representative from each of your school boards, and in many cases the superintendent serves as your representative, but it allows us to have some control over the decisions that are being made in a way that we can control costs then too as well. And so if we did not have a Northern Lights Academy, districts would be tasked with figuring out how to provide those services to students. And as Barb had said, you've already kind of exhausted all of your efforts, and we're here to step in and provide a higher level of service too. So, and so we're going to talk then about what's in the packet here, because as I said, we've been looking for a permanent home for our Northern Lights Academy. We are housed in 2 different buildings right now, which is an improvement from 3 buildings that we were in at one point in time. But one of the urgent things that has come up is that our site at Carleton High School, we were told at the beginning of the year that we have to find another location for them already coming this fall. Because of their cooperation talks and consolidation talks with Renshaw. And so we have been furiously looking for another site and are working hard on that and are hopeful we will have an answer to that. If we don't have an answer to that soon, we are going to have to work with our member districts and the principals at those schools to talk about how do we transition some students back into your settings. But we don't believe they're ready to come back to you yet, otherwise we would have transitioned them. And so what we're here to talk about is this project. And so several years ago, the board went through a strategic planning and they decided to pursue matching funds from the state to either remodel or build a program or a facility rather to house all these programs under one roof. So in the packet, there's this brochure called Reimagine the Possibilities. I can't remember if we shared this with you last year, but it talks about the programs and what the project scope is. And then when we went to the legislature last year, they were very clear to us in giving us some feedback. And the pieces they talked about were, well, they asked if we have a site, and of course we didn't at that time. They asked if we had letters of support from school boards, and we had them from the superintendents, but not the boards. And so that's what we're here to talk about. But in this packet, we feel like we've done some work that we didn't have done last year, and so that positions us to be in a better spot to potentially get some state funding. The first one is this page. This is ICS at the top. And we've been working with our friends at Carleton County to identify a space near their new Justice Center that could serve for a site for us to build. And Carleton County has already passed a resolution to support us by conveying this property to us if we get some state funding and if our boards approve this project. And so that was something we hadn't had in the past. We've looked at a lot of spaces, but if we had to build new, that's where we would build. And then this next page is just a concept map of what a building could potentially look like. And so this is just a facility, it's greatly matching the Northland Learning Center, which is the special ed co-op just to the north of us. They were lucky in that they qualify for IRRR funding. Our cooperative does not, and so IRRR stepped in and gave them some funding to do this. So it's just a concept map based on what their program looks like. And then the next page, and this is what we're here to talk to you about. So several years ago, well, not several, but a few years ago, the board was successful in lobbying to get lease levy authority up to $65 per pupil to help in a cooperative way to support buildings and projects. And so it can only be used for cooperatives. It's a separate lease levy authority that you have. And so when we've asked the legislature for money, we're asking them for $6.5 million, which would require a local match, and that would be matched by that lease levy authority. So again, it doesn't come out of your general fund. It's a separate levy that's only intended for cooperative uses. So it doesn't impact any of your other lease levy authorities either. It's specific to cooperatives. And so that's the piece that we are seeking some support from you in form of a resolution. We worked through our attorney's office to craft a resolution that provides support but is not a final resolution that binds you to anything. If this passes the legislature, then our facilities committee would get back together and work on that plan and would then work with you and work with Ellers, our financial advisors, to come up with what a binding kind of resolution would look like. And so that's not this one. This is just a letter of support for our project. So, but the next page in that packet is that financial information. The first page of that tells you by pupil how much each district that's in our cooperative, what that impact would be if it was for the whole $6.5 million. We have been led to believe that, we've asked for $6.5 million, but that's a very high ask, and so we've been led to believe that we should not expect $6.5 million. So just know that this dollar amount would not be any higher than what's on here, and if it were to pass and if we were to move forward with the project, it would likely be less than what's here. But this is the most that it would be. And then on the second page of that, you can go find Proctor here, and you can see what the tax impact would be, because I know that that's important as boards are working with their communities and working on your levy too. So you can see that tax impact for the various property values in your community. Also in your packet, there's historical enrollment data. Do you want to?
Yeah, it just talks about how many students have you sent to us. So that first column is how many students have we served each year that are residents of your district. And then we also get to kids that are transitioned back and some that have graduated. So we are expecting one of our former students who attend your high school to graduate this spring. So he came back to you for this fall and hoping that he gets there. Those darn I'm 18 and I can do whatever I want kind of things. They are still encouraging him to keep moving forward. So.
And then the very last page of that packet just shows you a comparison to other setting forth school districts in our area. And I will just say that NLC is listed on there, but the NLC ADM, which is their Bailey membership, also includes their alternative learning center in that dollar amount. We couldn't figure out how to parse that out of there, and of course those students are considerably less expensive, so that's bringing that number, that cost per student, down quite a bit. But you can see that we do try to control costs there, certainly much more cheaper than our neighbors to the north, which is where we used to have to send students. So it is important that we continue to offer a fiscally responsible way to serve students, but also do that in our communities. And because you're a member of Northern Lights, we want to be able to continue to educate students in the Northern Lights Academy so that you have a say in how our school is structured too. So I don't think there's anything else unless you have questions for us at all.
I just have one question. So when you're looking at the amount for this drawing here,
Yes.
is this something you're looking at just like implementing in phases or it all going in at once? Because I see there's about 16 classrooms, and maybe that's what you
It would
project.
it would depend on funding. So this
bit.
plan in front of you is closer to a $19 million plan, and our plan, even if we got $6.5 million in state funding and a 6.5 match, is a $13 million. So ideally, our Northern Lights special ed cooperative offices would be included in the same building, just so that we could benefit from having us all under one roof and saving some costs and travel and that sort of thing too. So that likely would not be included in a final plan. And we currently have, like we had talked about, 8 classrooms too. And so there's opportunity here for reducing some of those classrooms depending on what that looks like. We also know we have needs that aren't being met. Like we would love to have an 18 to 22-year-old program in our cooperative. That's a need that we know is there, but we don't have a place to house it at the moment. And so we also have some years where our early childhood numbers are quite high, and you have some very difficult behaviors in some early childhood programs, and there are times where that's been proposed as a potential need that we could serve, but again, we don't have space or capacity right now. So thank you for the question.
And if given the green light, when would you hope to begin construction? Tomorrow?
So the earliest that we could do this, like this wouldn't be able to be passed by our districts until December when you were doing your levies. And so we wouldn't be able to start construction until after that point in time. So we don't really have a timeline per se of when we would be moving into it, although it would depend on some of the scope and things. And there's some things that have been happening along the lines too to help with some maybe infrastructure. Carleton County has applied for some grants on our behalf for some of the infrastructure. Maybe that could happen ahead of time too, but it kind of depends on, well, it depends greatly on whether we get any funds from the legislature, because if we don't, we're kind of dead in the water there. So, so we haven't positioned that out so far, but the soonest likely that we could do it would probably, even if you approved it in December of 26, it would be unlikely that we would be in there. You're looking at least another year for construction and stuff. So probably the fall of 28. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anything else?
And then I do just tell everybody, if you ever want a tour, I would love to give you a tour. Our contact information is in there, or Tim knows how to reach us, and I'd be happy to give you a tour of our current stuff.
Yeah. And I think even just the last thing to add is, even though, I know that boards are looking at that tax impact, and that's an important thing to consider too. Certainly, if we did not have the Northern Lights and students had to return to their districts, there's going to be a greater cost to districts to figure out, you likely would have to hire some staff and figure out some spacing and so forth, and that comes directly out of your general fund versus this coming out of a levy fund that is just there specifically for that use. So that's something to keep in mind too. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on in the agenda, I see there's no one else here for public comment, so we will move to item 7, communications, commendations, and congratulations. Item 1, congratulations to Luca Acero and Sophie Folkstead on being crowned king and queen during the winter homecoming assembly. Item 2, recognize our bus drivers for the outstanding job they do transporting our students safely to and from school. Minnesota School Bus Driver Appreciation Day is February 18th, 2026. Item 3, thank John Awesome, Kelly Oakstead, Heidi Voss, Ted Keefit, Wayne Miskin, Jeff Gunderson, Anna Estep, and the custodial staff who helped make the winter homecoming assembly a success. Item 4, thank advisor Ted Keefit and chaperones John and Rhonda Awesome, Kelly Oakstead, Gordy Westendorf, Nicole Applewick, Nate Simpson, Molly Haig, Aaron Haig, and Nicole and Eric Bingaman for making Snowball a successful event. Item 5, congratulate Toby Shunk for winning the Lake Superior Conference Alpine Ski Championship and for placing third in the section meet to qualify for the state alpine ski meet on February 10th. And from what I understand, he also qualifies for nationals with that. If I read Facebook correctly, I believe so. Yeah, okay. And item 6, congratulate the girls Nordic ski team for winning the Lake Superior Conference Championship. Item 7, congratulate Isabella McPhee for winning the Great River Conference Championship in her weight class. And item 8, congratulations to the Proctor Clay Target team for earning the Fall Season Conference Championship, and to Lane Graves for finishing first in the conference for the fall season, Thor Forstrom and Leah Abbott for finishing second in the conference, and Austin Carlson for finishing third in the conference. Are there any other congratulations or commendations that are better served brought to the table at this time? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item B, student liaison comments. You guys are up.
How are you guys all doing today?
Good.
I just want to start with that. So first of all, we had homecoming week, which was a success. The AAA assembly went great, and there was an emotional recognition for Regan Donahue at the assembly, and also one with the Marines. So 6 Marines showed up to honor and recognize Regan. Today we had the state alpine ski send-off for Toby at the beginning of 6th hour and the flag raising in the Ugsted Circle. And on Wednesday we have the state unified basketball send-off at the beginning of 7th hour. So Thursday is the unified state basketball tourney at the Target Center in Minneapolis. The fan bus departs at 7:45 and tickets are being sold in the office. Friday is Night to Shine. So this will be our 10th, if I'm correct, year hosting. And for Bayview, they had a luminary walk at Bayview sponsored by PIE on January 30th in conjunction with the full moon. They made s'mores, drank hot cocoa, and made snowman crafts. Last week was also parent-teacher conference, and they had a wonderful turnout. And on Tuesday, they had a book swap in the library, and students went home with several new books to read.
At JMS, last week, Math League team placed 5th out of 8 schools. JMS is having a book fair this week. They started passing Real Strong engagement tickets this week to recognize students who are actively engaged in their learning. The tickets will be given out to students from now until the day before spring break. They will have a pep fest that Friday to recognize those students with fun events and games. Next week, they will have another JMS school dance that will be held at the arena. At Pike Lake, they had parent-teacher conferences on the 2nd to the 5th. Report cards were handed out and other important student documents in their 20-minute conferences. Winter Forest Club begins tomorrow after school for the next 4 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice reporting once again.
Did you share that with Lori? The report? Did you share the report with Lori? Because she adds it to the website. So would you please share it with her? Thank you. Sorry.
No, thank you for that. Moving on, item C, communication. Oh, I should ask, does anybody have any questions or comment for our students? Sorry. Okay.
And Claire, if you can fix, they weren't just Marines, they were from a variety of the armed services. So if you just want to put, just put service members instead of all Marines at the assembly.
I think she was talking about when Reagan was being.
Oh, are you talking about the one at Essentia? Oh, I thought you were talking about the assembly here. Because the assembly here, there were several service, okay, sorry. That was only Marines, okay, sorry. I misheard.
I'm glad we clarified it though. Nice job.
Thank you.
Item C, communications, media, items relating to the district from the Proctor Journal, January 29th edition. Winter homecoming is special. Pike Lake School gets blue ribbon status. Principal Mark Hughes honored as Trump Ends program. Let's see, 63 seniors recognized at PHS AAA assembly. And Proctor students create Love in a Basket to support new mothers. And February 5th, 2006 edition, 12 PHS seniors will enter military. Duluth waterline break causes boil advisory to Proctor. PHS graduate semifinalists for St. Louis County Schools Head. PHS junior Regan Donahue honored at senior assembly. Proctor High School Student of the Week was William Pockernich. And all-night grad party planning underway. And thank you for that. And Jake always does a nice job of promoting our school activities, but I think since your meetings with him after our board meetings, it's just gotten even better than what he had been doing. So thank you, Jake, for that. And
Yeah,
thank
he's
you
always
for
tuning in, so, to the meeting.
Yeah. Moving on to item 8, consent agenda. Looking for a motion.
So moved by Amy.
Motion by Amy, looking for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Lynn. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, informational items and reports. We'll move on to item B, superintendent report. Please, Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, thank you. As part of the, I guess, branding piece of our strategic plan, our new and improved district website will be launched on the 16th, so a week from today. So throughout this week, I'll be getting input from students and staff and parents. I'll probably send it to you as well to look it over. And really, the biggest changes to it, first of all, I started from scratch, and things that are outdated, things that were like buttons that went to nowhere, they're no longer there. The look of it is a little different. There's some other features that were new to Apogee that we're utilizing. In the past, with the website we currently have, each site had their own actually full website to manage, whereas now we're going to have basically a page that they manage, so it'll be easier to update and to keep current, and making pages is pretty simple. So I'll be working with the secretaries and the principals to make sure that they're keeping those up to date. So excited about that. I mentioned in the superintendent report that we had a OSHA inspection last week, right in the middle of the water issue. They showed up at our door, so but it went well. You know, you know, for the most part, you know, I mentioned, you know, Nate Hinks since last February, you know, has done a lot of things to improve our facilities, and so for the most part, you know, there's a couple minor things like exit signs that we didn't have, or like a guard on the lathe, or some, you know, not super major things that you know, the OSHA people were actually pretty, they're never happy, but they're positive about things that they saw. So we were excited about that, and again, I thank Nate Hinks for his work and his staff to make sure that our work environment is safe for our employees. In your packet, I included kind of the timeline for the facilities assessment. So this is what was given to the directors and principals to kind of lay out kind of the plan that they're going to be following for the facilities assessment. So we're kind of at, right now, we're at the demography study, and the surveys will be going out soon to our faculty and staff to not only hear about, you know, the quality of our learning environments, but also air quality and things like that. And we have a meeting tomorrow with them to start the operations audit. So we're definitely making our way. I'm in communications with them every day, and they're a great group to work with, and I'm looking forward to what we get from that. So, but it's quite an extensive process, and I also included in your packet the assessment of just kind of an overall, again, overview, but also the educational adequacy process. One of their team members was a superintendent and district leader, and she leads the educational facilities. So you see all the different categories of things that she's going to be looking at in our district to be able to give us a thorough report on how well our facilities meet our educational needs. So that'll be nice to have. Also in the superintendent report, I reached out to the Minnesota Department of Health and asked, as we look at trying to predict enrollment here in the future years, I talked to Mike Carey at Cloquet, and this is something that he did, and I thought, it'd be good data to have of the birth rates and the zip codes of the zip codes that we serve. And I put a little graph on the superintendent report. For the most part, it's relatively stable. A lot of districts are seeing that decline, but for the most part, we're not seeing a huge decline. Kind of a small, gradual decline, not a sharp one. So the birth rates are staying pretty steady, which means that we can expect, hopefully, that our early childhood and kindergarten enrollment will remain somewhat steady here moving forward. So that's exciting. Just a couple other things. Night to Shine is Friday this week, so that's always an amazing event that's held here. Just if you want to feel good about life and about in the midst of all the things that are going on, go to that and just leave there with a smile. It's just an amazing event. So if you can make it, it'd be awesome. Also, I was informed today that, officially informed today that MS 150 that's usually held here is not going to be happening here. They've changed the routes. They're going to be starting in, I don't remember what town. The Nicollet Fairgrounds or something, somewhere. So anyway, so they're just going to change the route, change the format. And so, talking to Jess Rich in the city, obviously it's a big thing for our city and our chamber and our businesses, so that's definitely something that even for our facilities, there's people sleeping in the hallways and classrooms and out in our fields, so it's a big event. It's definitely something that is going to be felt in our city that we're not having it. So the only positive with that is typically we have to wait for that event to happen before we can really start digging in our cleaning facility. So we'll hopefully be able to get a little quicker start on getting our facility ready for the next year. And then finally, in April, late April and early May, the Minnesota Wilderness are going to be utilizing the arena for playoffs because Cloquet has to get rid of their ice for some maintenance. And so we hosted them a few years back. So I've been working with Steve Anderson to kind of think back and give me the history and how we did that. One thing I'm going to be coming with is, they want to do alcohol sales like they did last time upstairs in the community room. So there's some state statute things and city ordinance things that we'll have to do. But I'm working with the team right now on kind of where they're going to get their license, who's going to be serving, all those types of things, so I can bring that information to the board. So that'll be coming. But that's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Roeder. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the superintendent report? Hearing none, moving on to item C, strategic plan update.
Yeah, I don't really have much. There's pretty much all in that report. So.
Yep, perfect. Okay, moving on to item D, reports, school board, district committees. There is a staff development committee and a wellness committee. Does anybody have any questions on them? Questions or comments? All right, moving on to item 2 under the reports. Enrollment report for February of 2026. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? It was in your board packet. All right, moving on to item 3, legislative updates. Anything new? No?
I put in your packet the day at the Capitol, so that'll be on March 9th. So we need to register for that. So I guess if you know now that you're planning to go, let me know so we can get you registered, or just email Lori as soon as you can so that we can get registered with that. So this kind of lays out all the information. There's a webinar that they're having on March 2nd, kind of a know before you go type deal, because they did change some of the format, some of the locations. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of those changes. I'll tune in, and if there's anything groundbreaking, I'll let you know if you don't tune in. But the schedule's there. And yeah, kind of looking forward to that. It's my first time going down there for that, so it should be a good time.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to item 4, board goals. Anything there?
Do we have, where's Tim?
I don't see it.
The superintendent, did she just include that with this?
Say that again.
It was to do the superintendent evaluation. So is that here? Is that where it is? I don't see it in another place on the agenda.
It was on here.
I thought we said we would be where we would do board goals.
Are we just
That's-
doing it where board goals
Yeah.
are?
Just do it there? Okay.
Okay. And I think everybody received one in their packets again.
Yes.
So I have a few comments and I have a couple of corrections. Do you want me just to forge ahead?
Absolutely.
All right, so in goal number 1, it lists the standard and then the key elements and the evidence. Where it says under evidence, it says for the first one, completed needs assessment report presented to the board. What I would suggest we add is to update the board monthly regarding the progress, instead of just waiting to the end and we hear it. I would rather that Tim shows his evidence where it says TBD, that we just add update the board monthly regarding process, because he does that anyway.
I think that's good.
And I
That way,
think-
nothing's a surprise.
Yep, then we can monitor. Then under the supportive board goals, when I looked at the board goals, I struggled with some of the language in here. So the second one where it says approve resources and timelines for the assessment process, that's what MSBA recommended. Instead, that Tim would provide the resources and timelines instead of him coming to the board every time he wants to have something approved. We've already approved the process. So instead of approve resources and timelines, just to provide the board with resources. Because we don't approve every time he does something. That would be ridiculous.
So as part of the monthly updates?
As part of the monthly updates. Yep, that's where it is. That's our goal, to make sure that that's done and that we see it.
So I agree with that.
Because we don't have to approve them every time he does one. And actually, the second one could just be eliminated because it says monitor progress through regular updates is what he's doing.
That's what I would do.
All right, we'll erase that. Okay? Then, so that's all I have on that one. When we get down to communication and engagement, standard 3, the key activities, it says install district mission and vision statements in all school entryways, hallways, and digital platforms. Are we talking about the arena, the early childhood center, or is it only in the school?
No, I think it would be every facility that we own would have something related to our mission and vision.
Okay, then I would change it because it just says all school entryways.
Okay.
So all facilities entryways, school facilities.
To me, that'd be part of the brand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on the second one, where it says to launch a coordinated community branding campaign, newsletter signage, social media to promote district achievements, including timelines and dates, so we'd have some idea of when this is going to occur. So that was, I would just add that to the end, including the timelines and the dates. And then,
Wait, before you move on from that.
okay,
Okay, so launch a coordinated community branding campaign, blah, 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 to promote district achievements, and you want added on to that?
yes, just including timelines and dates. So if Tim says, like what he just said with the website will be up and running on this date. I will have monthly newsletters. I will have signage put up in March.
Wouldn't that be in the update?
Yep, but it's part of the goal area of communication.
This is down here under goal, the communication.
Okay, well, the reason I'm having trouble with this is because it's specifically saying to launch them.
Right, but.
It's not saying to update or
No.
any of that.
No, but I think we need to know, when is he gonna launch? When is the website gonna be ready? When is the, you know,
And that's fine, I just don't think it belongs there.
where would you put it?
There should be,
It does say under the evidence, it says newsletters, and I have a question, when? Social media posts, which ones? So if we want to put it there, that's fine.
I would put it underneath evidence, because that's going to be our evidence, that his evidence to us that this is occurring.
But this is his activity, so.
Key activities, right.
Right, so in with his activity, when is he going to do it?
So you want to just put including timelines and dates underneath evidence?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can put it there.
And then you can remove the rest of that, can't you? Like newsletters, social media posts.
So, yeah, those are just examples.
Yeah. But that would be part of the timeline and the launch. I would ask too, can we put the website in there? I mean, that's a pretty significant communication.
We can put that under
engagement.
evidence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then which social media, which ones are you gonna hit? Probably some that some of us kids don't
Institute.
have. Then under the supportive board goals, this one I struggled with a lot. Because again, it says approve funding for signage and digital updates. Doesn't that fall under his job anyway?
Yes.
And we don't have an advertising budget, so I don't know that that would necessarily be a board goal that we approve as funding.
I guess, approve individual signage either.
No, we don't.
No.
So I didn't like that one.
However, for example, the digital sign on Highway 2 is pretty much dying.
Dying.
Yeah. And so to replace that would be probably above the amount that I can just say, yeah, let's do it. So
Right.
it
But-
would probably have to come to the board.
But normally, wouldn't you do that though? If there's
Right.
a huge expenditure, you would come to the board anyway. So,
And that's our support.
right, but it's not for all signage and digital updates. So I just think, maybe approve major funding. Is there a threshold?
We approve the funding every financial report.
Right, right. So I just,
So we do it. And that's part of our support for Tim.
But I think what it's saying is, knowing that that's a goal to specifically focus on those things in the financial report, that, hey, this is, and I could point them out too, if there's things in the
Right.
financial report that relate to that.
It'd be good to know, because especially if we're looking at the report, I mean, once in a while I'll shoot Garrett a question just because I can't remember, or I don't, no, I probably should know what this big expenditure was, but I don't remember,
Right.
so.
so maybe monitor instead of approve? I don't know. Because we already do this. He'll come to us.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but we already do it.
Yeah, we're good. We're doing our goals before we even knew they were our goals.
The next one, too, to approve communication strategies and resources. I don't think we have to approve what he does.
No.
That's his job. And then the last, how is the board going to promote consistent messaging across platforms? How do we do that? We don't do that.
We're not doing that.
So I would cross that out.
So there isn't really any supportive goals.
Well, it's just, I think all we have to say is that we monitor.
Yeah,
We monitor what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that would be,
yeah, that works.
okay. Then if we go down to belonging and connection, some of these key activities that it has, Tim doesn't host cultural nights, family learning events, and volunteer opportunities. What he does is he directs his supervisors to do those. He doesn't do those.
Correct, and I don't think it's saying for Tim to personally host it.
Either that.
Tim is asking the school district to host a cultural night,
Right,
and we have people that do that.
but I think just dump the examples because he can decide
We
how
can
he's
dump the
going to do that.
examples, yeah, I think that.
Okay, But I do think one of the key activities that he's already doing is to attend city and township meetings. That is something that he already does, and I think we would like him to continue. So that would be one of his key activities. Oh, I was going to ask you, do you have a community engagement area on the website? I know that you have people who communicate with you. You know, you've got that thing where if you have something to contact the soup. So is that someplace on the new website?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the evidence would be like the reports from supervisors. It would be in GenSA, where we're doing the survey, and the volunteer data. That would come from either the stuff you're getting or reports from your supervisors. So I would just put those things in there as evidence. And then for us, the first one was fine. The second one, recognize and celebrate volunteer contributions publicly. I mean, we do acknowledge people during our regular board meetings. So, I mean, we already do that. So, I mean, we can leave it. I just didn't know if they wanted an end of the year cookies and something or other.
Doesn't say that.
No, I was just wondering. I didn't know. All right. Then, if you go to the evaluative tool, and I'll just hand these out. Someone made a mistake somewhere, because if you look at the evaluative tool, the draft on the
Yeah.
last page, look at all of them. Pass those down.
Pass them down.
Take one.
Oh,
Take one
okay.
down, pass it around.
Be very specific.
All right. If you look, and I've been to the superintendent evaluation training 3 times, I think. This that I just handed you is the correct tool. If you look at 6B, they're all highly effective. The one that's in your
I like that
packet.
one. Let's use
Yeah,
that one.
because no matter what, Jim's going to be effective.
But there's no 4, 3, 2, 1. They're all.
Tim paid her.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that.
So I gave you the correct information.
All
so,
right.
So we'll swap this out.
Make sure that Tim didn't do that on purpose.
No,
I'm kidding, Tim.
I don't think he did. But this makes much more sense.
Yes, it does.
Sure. So I'll contact MSBA
See, I
and
went
let
to,
them
I
know.
knew Lynn would catch
Maybe you were
Is that
just
it?
testing her ability to.
it. Sharpening her policy skills.
Yeah. So I'll contact her at MSBA and let her know that it's in here.
Cool. Lynn, thanks for taking the time to do that.
You want me to update it and then get it out?
Well, we tried that once. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, he's not making reservations. No, I don't know, was this editable?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'll contact her, I'll have her put the correct ones in, and then I'll go back and change this, and then I'll get that back to the board. But I would think we could approve them tonight with the changes, so.
Yep.
I'll motion to approve the superintendent performance review with the discussed changes.
I'll second. Wait, I second, now we can talk.
Say that again, though, I can't hear.
I approve the superintendent performance review with suggested changes.
Okay.
And the board goals?
And the
Oh,
board
that's,
goals.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to call it a tool? Because it sounds like you already did an evaluation.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, so amend mine to say superintendent performance review tool and board goals as amended.
What I have, Amy Cochran made a motion to approve the superintendent's performance review tool with the suggested changes and board goals discussed.
Perfect.
Okay. I second it.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions on this item?
Does this belong in informational items and reports, or does this go under items for individual action below?
It should have
Should
gone.
be an
All right.
action item.
All right, we can add it to an action item below.
I'll ask Lori to move it.
I mean, you can wait
Perfect.
till next meeting too and approve what comes back.
Say that again?
You can wait till next meeting too and put it in that section.
Let's get it, please.
Yeah, we got her here.
Okay.
Do it now. So, we got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, Township and City Communications. Have you,
Yeah, well, I was at city council last week, and Kenosha Township, tomorrow night I'll be at Solway and Grand Lake, and I'm still, next month, I gotta wait till next month to go to Midway, but, my plan is to do January and June. I'm a little late on January, but, you know, I told them twice a year I'll go to their meetings and just talk about how we can be better partners and any issues that we can work together on. And I shared our strategic plan and, you know, went through kind of the things that relate to them and their township, and how they could support us in those areas. And I asked them to hold us accountable to the things that we put in our strategic plan that we say we're doing. So so far it's been very good conversations. And so
excellent.
How
And
often did you say you're going out to?
twice a year, January and
Okay.
June is.
Okay. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. And I saw Tammy went with you to one of them, so if there's any board members that would wish to go with Mr. Roweeder or meet Mr. Roweeder there on any of the nights of the meetings, go ahead and call Tim and let him know. Also, our student liaisons have gone to these township meetings and city meetings. So if you are interested at all in going and talking to any of the ones that are in your community or not in your particular community, let Mr. Roweeder know and we can get you there. The citizens in the townships especially love hearing from you guys. It's been impressive when we brought our students there, so.
Yeah, the annual meetings are in March. They have their annual meetings, so that's also a good time because superintendent usually gives us talking points so we can talk to the community, and that's when everyone goes. Otherwise, there's very little attendance coming.
All right. Thank you for that, everybody. Moving on to item 10, action items. Finance Director report and approval of Treasurer's report.
Thank you. So I have two pieces of paper for you guys, both looking at the district's debt. So the first one is kind of just a bar chart, and that looks at our debt year over year. So in that chart, you can see how our debt remains fairly consistent year over year. So that's one of our main priorities to lessen the tax burden year over year. When we keep that level, our levy will also remain level. And then that bottom just breaks it out by principal, interest, total, and then we are required by statute to levy 105% of our anticipated bond payments in any year. So that is also reflected on that. And then the legal sheet of paper breaks this down by the different issuances that we have outstanding. So we currently have 5 different debt issuances that we are paying on. I have them broken out there. 2 of them are refunding bonds. So we issued bonds from like a referendum, and then we were able to think of it as like refinancing your mortgage. Essentially, we were able to get a more competitive coupon on those rates, so we go out, pay off the principal, and start a new debt schedule. And then 2 of them relate to the 2017 referendum for the hockey arena and other athletic items that were included in that. We did 2 separate issuances, one which is non-taxable and another portion which was taxable. When we issue a non-taxable bond, there's only so much interest that we can earn on that bond. So when we issue a taxable, we're able to capture those investment earnings when we're not paying it out immediately. And then the 5th one on the far end is a refunding COP, so a certificate of participation. So that is bonding against our lease levy. So that'd be a similar thing to what Billy Joe and Barb were talking about earlier, using that co-op lease levy. This used our regular $212 lease levy, and that was from when we did the Pike Lake addition. As you can see, it's several pieces of debt falling off in the coming years. As those fall off, we've structured the other debt so that we're making larger principal payments to capture that fall. Any questions on our debt?
Like the debt snowball.
That is all I have. That's all I got.
All right.
I do appreciate you giving us different pieces every time.
Amy's the only one that understands it, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, you're here.
All right, moving on to.
It's like the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like,
is,
I'm like,
Yes.
ooh, that's coming up. I like that.
That's good.
See, it's fun.
Moving on to item 2, approve the payment of bills dated February 2nd, 2026 in the amount of $339,719.58, covering checks 125709 through 125805 and all ACH transfers. Void check 125433 and approve the electronic transfers and payrolls for January 26th. Electronic transfers in the amount of $2,250,000 and payrolls in the amount of $2,013.66. Looking for a motion.
So moved, Jen.
Second by Amy.
I got a motion by Jen, a second by Amy. Any questions or comments on the financial report as read? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, items that require board approval, approve board goals for the 2025-2026 school year. Is that what we just did?
Yeah, but these
Thank
aren't,
you.
it's not the 25, it would be the, well, I guess it's still for this school
It
year.
is this school
Yeah.
year, yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we
Right.
did it again.
I've got that above, so
Okay.
it's fine.
Moving on to C, resolutions. Adopt a resolution supporting use of cooperative facilities levy to pursue state matching dollars for construction of new Northern Lights Academy facility. Looking for a motion.
So moved by Amy.
Motion by Amy, looking for a second. Second,
Oh, I heard Larry.
second by Larry. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, this is a resolution, so it requires a roll call vote.
Ward,
Yes.
Shelton. Yes. Pockeridge.
Yes.
Podgornik.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Peterson, yes, unanimously approved, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item 2, adopt the resolution authorizing the superintendent of schools to close open enrollment options based on reviews of class size and school capacities for the 2026-2027 school year. Looking for a motion.
So moved by Amy.
Motion by Amy, looking for a second.
No, second it, Larry.
Second by Larry. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Resolution.
Oh, sorry. Resolution, thank you.
McDonald.
Yes.
Peterson, yes. Pockeridge.
Yes.
Podgornik.
Yes.
Shelton. Yes. Ward,
Yes.
unanimously approved, thank you.
And item 3, proclamations. School Bus Driver Appreciation Day is February 18th, 2026, and we would like to make a proclamation appreciating our bus drivers. Looking for a motion.
So moved. I got it.
I'll second it.
Let's see, how do I do that? A motion by Lamb and
Pay me.
I got a motion by Lynn and a second by Amy. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, approximation or resolution requires a roll call vote.
Is a resolution the same as a proclamation?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But it's under resolutions.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Does Jim have to abstain?
Yeah, I think so.
No, it's not financial. He can appreciate his fellow drivers.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. I like them.
There will be no bragging. Okay. Proctor,
Yes.
Pagornik,
Yes.
Shelton. Yes. Ward,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Peterson. Yes. Unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item 11, board member comments. Does anybody have any comments?
I just have one, and I already had talked to Tim about it. You know, you go out and about, and we had school called for 2 schools because of the water, and all I heard was rave reviews about Tim's communication. Being that it was kind of a weird scenario, you kept everybody updated throughout the day, and I just heard lots of good things. And I think I already told you that, but I'll say it publicly. So there.
Excellent. Anybody else?
I just want to remind people of the Reed Banquet this Friday night. The tickets are, we sold, a week from Friday. It's just coming up quickly. And we are sold out at this point. We sold 229 tickets. Our speaker is Whitney Olson. And if anyone can't attend the banquet, but you still want to support Reed, you can go on the website or on the Twin Ports bid auction site, and you can bid on some items.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was already live, or is it?
It will be live this Friday. This is not a bribe. These are Jen's tickets.
Oh my God.
These are Jen's tickets. So the public knows. No one paid me for that comment.
I still want to forget.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Hearing none, moving on to item 12, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Amy.
Motion by Amy, looking for a second.
Second, Jen.
Second by Jen. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:03.
Thank you.
At Proctor Public Schools, we're more than just a district. We're a journey. Every day, our teachers, staff, and students work together, building knowledge, confidence, and character, mile by mile. From our early learners to our graduates ready for the world ahead, we're fueling curiosity, connecting ideas, and driving innovation, all while keeping our eyes on the horizon. Because here in Proctor, we don't just ride the rails, we are the rails, educating, engaging, and inspiring the next generation to go full steam ahead.